It was just supposed to be a dare. A stupid, childish dare. We'd heard the stories, of course. Everyone in town had about a forgotten cabin, miles from anywhere, swallowed by trees and thick, green moss. They said the walls are mirrors, the old man at the gas station had whispered, his voice like dry leaves scraping across pavement. But no one lasts more than a minute inside. His eyes were wide, serious. We just laughed. We arrived at dusk. The sky was a deep, bruised purple, and a low wind moaned through the skeletal branches of the trees. And there it was. The cabin stood alone in a small clearing, looking like it had grown out of the earth itself. It was smaller than I imagined, almost quaint. But then we got closer. The walls weren't just made of mirrors. They were asterisk mirrors. Floor, ceiling, every single surface. There was only one door. Its cold metal latch was already undone, hanging there like an invitation. We stepped inside. The world instantly shattered and multiplied around us. Infinite versions of ourselves stared back, our reflections bouncing off each other into dizzying, impossible depths. My own breathing sounded like a roar in my ears, and my friend's breath beside me thundered, even though I knew the cabin was dead silent. The last of the evening light fractured into a million tiny shards. The air felt thick, heavy, and tasted metallic, like glass. We took a hesitant step forward. The door clicked shut behind us. We hadn't touched it. We didn't even feel a breeze. My friend coughed, a small, nervous sound, but in the echoing space, it sounded like something breaking. And then, it was. A mirror on the wall behind him cracked. A spiderweb of fractures appearing from nowhere. We both froze our blood turning to ice. He shook his head, his eyes wide with the terror that mirrored my own. "We should leave," he whispered, his voice barely audible. I nodded frantically. But as we turned, the cabin changed. Corridors opened up in the mirrored walls where there had been none. Reflections began to move on their own, distorted figures twisting and turning in the periphery, but they weren't ours. Eyes stared back at us from impossible angles, peeking from the corners of the glass. A voice hissed. It wasn't a word, just a suction of sound, a void that pulled at the air. Look. My flashlight, my only source of comfort, began to flicker erratically. I caught my own reflection in the stuttering light. It was smiling, a wide, predatory grin that stretched too far, but I felt no smile on my own face, only a cold, creeping dread. Minutes stretched into an eternity. Suddenly, my friend collapsed. He just dropped. The mirror he fell against didn't shatter. He went asterisk, through asterisk, it disappearing into the glass as if it were water. Mirror shards scattered across the floor where he had been standing, but his body was gone. Hell. His voice screamed from everywhere and nowhere at once. A desperate, muffled cry that was instantly swallowed by the suffocating silence of the cabin. Panic seized me. Panic seized me. I didn't know where I was going, just away. My foot broke through a floorboard, but the mirror below swallowed the sound completely. The reflections clung to me, distorted versions of myself reaching out with glassy hands. I finally saw the door, a beacon in the madness. My hand reached out, my fingers brushing against the cold metal latch. But the mirror behind the door cracked. A shape stepped through the glass. It was tall, impossibly tall, and made of shifting, inky blackness. It smiled slowly, a slash of white in the darkness. Its eyes glowed like two red embers in the glass. I pulled my hand back in terror, and the latch I had just touched melted like hot wax in my fingers, dripping onto the floor. I tried to turn, to run, but the shape touched the mirror beside it. The glass bowed inward, stretching and contorting until it opened like a grotesque, silent mouth. It whispered a sound that felt like it was inside my own head. "Your turn." And it reached for me. I scrambled backward, falling over my own feet. The flashlight finally died, plunging me into absolute darkness. And yet, I could see everything. Hundreds of reflections of me, all around me screaming in silent agony. Reflections of me lying still on the floor. Something pressed its face against the glass right in front of me. Its features indistinct, but its intent horribly clear. I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that it saw something inside of me, something I didn't want it to find. I heard footsteps behind me. My own footsteps. But I wasn't walking. The door vanished. The walls closed in. The cabin echoed with my screams. One last, desperate sound before the silence took over completely. When the storm passed and the sun rose, the cabin stood empty. The car was gone. The only sign anyone had ever been there were the tire tracks and a single set of footprints leading to the door. On the main mirror, an inscription was scrawled in the dust, as if by a finger. 5 minutes. The world outside looked the same, but I knew nothing was. Nothing ever would be again. So if you ever find yourself deep in the woods, and you stumble upon a cabin where the walls reflect your fear more than your face, don't stay. Don't even stay for a minute, because the mirrors don't show you what you are. They show you what you will become. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the darkness. If you enjoy stories that make you question what's real, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You never know what's waiting in the reflection. Stay safe out there.